Sustainability. Everyone's talking about it. Governments, companies, communities. Hi, I'm Chris Cracknell, Chairman of Thornton. Sustainability is one of the big topics for 2022. It's on everyone's tongues. How can we improve sustainability? How can our actions improve? What can businesses do to do their part in making a more sustainable environment for the future? We're seeing trends within businesses now that are real impact trends. They're either lowering costs, they're lowering emissions, they're providing a better environment, and especially focusing on communities, people, and on governance. Here are my predictions for 2022, counting backwards and starting from number 4, a reduction in business air travel. Lots of things have changed over the last 2 years during COVID, and we've seen a dramatic change forced upon businesses to cut back on business travel. We found that the better use of technology, video conferencing, and other forms of communication have prevailed, and they've been found to be incredibly effective. However, I do see that CEOs will continue to travel and do business, as will other key executives. I see a decline in business conferences. I see a decline in less essential business travel, and actually placing resources around the world rather than centrally and having them then travel by air travel. This change will be permanent. Companies have seen, firstly, the savings they've been able to make financially and the improvements to their P&L. Also, attitudes in business towards air travel have increased. Employees do not want to travel as much. They don't see it as environmentally friendly, and they want their employers to follow a more sustainable way forward. Business travel will reduce. However, contrary to that, I do see tourism and tourism travel increasing gradually as we go forward from 22 into 23 and 24. At number 3, I see a definite increase in the use of renewable energy sources, a definite shift across to solar, wind, hydrogen, and of course the increased use of batteries. And batteries are critical. The ability to store electricity at a point of generation which may be different from the point of need and usage. The movement forward in capability of battery storage has been incredible over the last few years, and that will grow and continue into the future. However, before we get to these renewable energies, we need to transition from the heavy use of fossil fuels such as coal and oil into renewables. And in the next 12 months, and perhaps longer than that, I see an increased use of liquid natural gas, which is as a fossil fuel the cleanest form of fossil fuel we have available to us now, and there is plenty of supply around the world. And I also potentially see an increase in nuclear energy. But in nuclear energy, I'm going to focus on fusion, not fission. Fission, we have the risks associated with it. We've had the dramatic nuclear power station failures around the world and the damage that has caused. If we can move to fusion and tackle that technology, we will have an endless supply of clean energy going forward. And that's the area I see most excitement going forward. Turning to number 2. Businesses will increasingly focus upon ESG, environmental, social, and governance, as a benchmark and as a need. Why? Demand from both customers and clients in terms of the way companies perform, but also a demand from the way employees will find employment. Which firms will they work for? And they will look for organizations that identify with their values. And increasingly, sustainability, or ESG, has formed a key part of their expectations about how businesses should perform. We've seen a dramatic increase in ethical investments over the last few years, and this is set to continue. The world is changing, and the expectations of both customers and clients, employees, and of government and business in general is a move to sustainability. This is good for the planet, and it's good for us as individuals. At number 1, and this is perhaps my favourite and the biggest influencer that's going to happen during 2022, is the availability of big data. We have an incredible ability now to collect information with sensors, visually, by vibration, by volume, by sound. So many different ways we can collect data and store this data. The challenge is, how do we analyze it and how do we convert it into something useful? But with data, we can make informed decisions. We can monitor progress. We can see how improvements are working to make our world a better place. So whilst big data can also be a threat, because too much information can sometimes be too difficult to analyze or provide misleading conclusions, actually big data can be one of the main tools for helping us run both our businesses and achieve our sustainability goals as businesses and communities and governments effectively going through 2022. We've never had more information available. It's up to us to use it effectively. So in conclusion, an exciting year for sustainability going forward. A really positive year for sustainability, embraced by everyone from government to companies to individuals to communities and wider. However, there does remain one big challenge to all of this. The wealth gap is getting bigger. And as the wealth gap gets bigger, whilst the rich may wish to chase sustainability and all of the merits of sustainability, the poorer around the world, whether it's by wealth, by education or by opportunity, will continue to look at short needs for their own personal gain in preference to the longer-term needs of the planet. Unless we address the wealth gap, we will not address sustainability effectively. Thank you.